longitudinal studies. So these are brewing. One can ask, does musical training improve working memory, or are people born with better working memory? Are they drawn to playing music? So we know that there have been a number of cortical studies showing that there is selective enhancement to a musician's own instrument. And I think that that's been a very nice argument. I mean, that yes, indeed, a certain kind of person born with certain talents might be more drawn to playing a musical instrument, but it's unlikely that they will be drawn to be playing one instrument over another. And so there have been cortical effects that have been demonstrated, and we see this already at the brainstem level as well, where we see that, so here's the piano stimulus, and we see that the representation of the piano sound is just better in pianists compared to other instrumentalists. And so we're asking, well, is this then a memory-driven enhancement? And one way of looking at this is to ask, to what extent is this experience dependent? And what we do see is that auditory working memory gets better with the years of musical training, and also the earlier that you begin your musical training, the better your working memory. So there seems to be an experiential component here. We see this not only in school-age children, but also in our young adults, that there is this relationship between the extent of practice and the strength of working memory. So hearing and noise then is a complex auditory task, and its success really just does depend on the effective biological processing of sound, in particular the timing and the harmonics, and that these biological processes seem to be enhanced in musicians. And so our hypothesis here is that auditory working memory is really a driving force in shaping the nervous system's response to sound. So here we can look at our great big auditory system and draw this arrow here with auditory working memory, strengthening the timing and harmonics. And we really just need to go back to where I began this talk in thinking about that the biological response to sound really does depend on an interaction of sensory, cognitive, and emotional factors. And we really, we have to, I think, always realize that this interaction is going to be occurring, and these things will be happening simultaneously. There's certain things you really cannot, in my opinion, disambiguate entirely. You cannot entirely disambiguate nature and nurture. You cannot entirely disambiguate spectrum and time and frequency. They work together. A couple of our ongoing projects, we're working on this technology of the way we access the biological response to sound, because we really see that it has a lot of applications that we're anxious to see other people utilize for research and educational and clinical applications. So it really is an objective biological probe of auditory function, and it's a metric of plasticity, whether it's developmental, experiential, or post-intervention. It's a way of actually getting a sense of how the nervous system is responding to sounds. If you're interested in a particular device, a hearing aid or a microphone, you want to know not only what are the spectral characteristics of this device, but also how does the nervous system respond, or even an individual, to this hearing aid versus another. And anytime auditory function is questioned, and in babies who really would like to be able to get into their heads, and in various animal experiments where various factors are manipulated, but auditory function is of interest. We're working with intelligent hearing systems these days. You can record these responses with their system already, but we're hoping to work with them to have a more user-friendly interface. Our music studies, we have these ongoing cross-sectional studies where we're looking, again, across the age span at biological learning and communication skills, and importantly, neuroeducationally. So this is a project that we have in collaboration with the LA-based Harmony Project. This brings music education. It's very based on the El Sistema approach that brings music education to very underserved youth in the LA area. And so we again are looking at biological learning and communication outcomes, as well as in our own backyard in Chicago public high schools, in the charter schools. We are comparing, in particular, kids in the charter schools who are getting music education to their matched kids in the same school who are involved in ROTC training. So they're also getting enrichment activities, but it's not music. I would like to point out in particular some of the musicians in my lab. So this is Alexandra Parby-Clark, Jessica Slater, Adam Tierney, Dana Street, Karen Chan, and I wonder if anybody recognizes this young man. This is a collaborator of mine. Yeah. Pretty sweet, huh? And this is the rest of the group that, in fact, deserves all of the credit for the work that we are doing, as well as the support, the financial support that makes it possible. I really encourage you, please, to visit our website. We spend a lot of time on it. I've got a little stack of cards here with the website, and check out our slideshows and our little movies and stuff. We really are trying to do our part to communicate our little discoveries and make them accessible. And I thank you for your attention.